How's it going, everyone? And welcome back to another payout to... God, it's been so long I've literally forgotten what the series is called. $50 to payout series, which I have not uploaded for a long time, and I have good reason. I've not had a trade. Like, I was taking, lots of positions. There were lots of opportunities, but recently there's just been nothing. There's been a lot of volatility, and the strategy has just not been blessing me with any setup. So that's why the video's taken so long, and you'd expect I'd come back with a banger, but today we actually took a loss. And you know me, I like to be open and honest. If I've lost a trade or had a losing day, I need to make a video about it so that we can kind of have that honesty in the series. So I'll put an entry here maybe, and there'll be a screen recording just while I'm talking in this bit around the trade we took. It was a sell on GU and it lost. However, we only lost about £5 on the account. Normally we risk about 10 to 12, so we halved our risk, and I'll show you on the charts exactly how we managed to do that to kind of limit the risk. So right now the account is at £72, I believe. I might be wrong, but I'll double check. But £72, and obviously we need to get to 150. So we're a little bit over halfway from passing this series, but we can do it once the setups kind of present themselves a bit better. Hopefully we'll start to find some more. So let's get on to the charts now. I'll talk through a setup and go from there. Okay, so this was the setup, as you can see. Now I'm just going to zoom in a bit more so it's a bit clearer. So what we were essentially looking for is, you can see we had sort of Asia come in here, and we were making clear, bearish structure. Nothing too, crazy there. So I had a good feeling that we were probably going to want to sell in London. Given that we get the break that we look for, as I've spoken about many times. Now, as you can see, we have the most recent low here, and we have a great break to the downside. Now, this looks like a lot, and it is. We actually had some news in these two candles here. Now, this wasn't GBP news, because I wouldn't probably trade that. It was Euro news, but I think it kind of had an effect on all the currencies, because it was to do with how it stacked up against the pound and performance and things like that. So we had a very strong sell to the downside, which I was like, okay, great. This is a perfect sell. We've been in Asia session, breaking lows, making lower highs, pretty clear sell structure. And then we have a massive push to the downside, kind of indicating that sell direction. So I was like, okay, brilliant. We're probably going to want to sell here. So now it was just kind of about the entry, and I always like to look left and see what's there. And obviously we have this structure here. Now obviously I'm not going to go fully into entries, but I've done plenty of videos on entries I use and how I use them, so feel free to check those out in the meantime. But we had this structure low here. We want to make sure that we sell in the sort of high range. So 0.5 is probably about here. We were selling in a premium, so all good, great setup. And so we sold, and we did go a little bit into profit, as you will have seen from the screenshot earlier. I think at the peak it was maybe about £10, £9, £10, so a little bit of profit. But as you can see, we then pulled back up to stop me out. Now, if you remember earlier how I said we actually only lost 0.5% or half the risk on this, it was essentially because, if I zoom right in, when we made this initial push down, what I like to do on the flip accounts to kind of preserve capital is then move the stop just above the high, because realistically, if we've come down, come up, created this high, and then continued down, what do you think would happen? Well, this would clearly be the new lower high, and then you'd probably expect price to retest and then continue down again. That's what you're looking for. So to kind of preserve capital, I moved my SL just kind of above it, to prevent myself from essentially getting the direction wrong and price going all the way and losing more than I needed to, because I knew if we broke this high, we were going to buy, which, what a surprise, we did. So I moved my SL there and we ended up only losing £5. Now, do not move your SL on actual accounts. This is slightly different. As I always say, it's a flip account. Don't trade it, or don't try and flip accounts. It's not a good idea, but you know, sometimes you have to take these risks on the small accounts. And as you can see, we went all the way up. We actually broke out the high of Asia, and then, you know, sort of mid New York, we actually then sold down to annoyingly what was the area we were targeting perfectly, actually, before it reversed. So, you know, kind of annoying, but we only, as I said, lost £5 on that. So it's not the end of the world. But if you look at this week as a whole, it's been pretty rubbish. Like, we have just been stuck going sideways. And if I go to kind of a higher time frame, you'll see it more and more how you know, bad this week has been. Basically, we've just been stuck in a range. You know, we gapped down, and now we're just kind of going like this basically and waiting to see if we either want to sell off or continue to the upside. What do I think is going to happen? I probably, you know, with just looking at like the higher time frames, it probably looks like we're going to sell off. We have sort of this big inefficiency here, down here, that we can maybe, you know, come into, but we'll just have to wait and see. As you know, I don't really look too much at the higher time frames, so just wait and see what happens. But that was the trade. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed that video. Apologies, as I said, for it taking so long for me to kind of get back into this series. I genuinely just have had, you know, no positions, but hopefully you found this video useful, and next time we make one, we'll have a win. So that's the goal anyway. We'd quite like to win on this series. Would rather not have to restart. But yeah, anyway, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.